That moment. The secret fear that freezes your laughter. The silent betrayal of your own body. Look around you. Or just look down at your hands. The device you're holding, the chair you're sitting in, the posture you adopt without a second thought. These aren't just habits. They are the architects of an invisible prison. You've been told that bladder leaks are about age or childbirth. But what if I told you the primary cause is a force attacking your body for over 8 hours a day, even if you've never been pregnant? This isn't just pressure. It's a sentence. It's a law of physics you've been using against yourself without even knowing it. It's called mismanaged intra-abdominal pressure, and it's the equivalent of placing a 10-pound bowling ball on your bladder every single time you slouch to read a text. Day after day, this relentless force fatigues your pelvic floor muscles, stretching them beyond their breaking point, until finally, one day, a simple laugh is enough to break the dam. And the most shocking fact is that 90% of women experiencing this blame everything but this silent enemy. As a doctor specializing in the hidden physiology of the female body, I've seen the frustration in the eyes of thousands of women. Active, strong women who come to my office whispering about a problem that's stealing their confidence, believing it's a personal failing. They've made you believe it's an inevitable consequence. And they've lied. Today, we're not talking about surface-level fixes. We are going to dismantle the lie. In the next few minutes, you won't just understand this destructive force. I will give you the counterattack, a 2-minute protocol based on neuroscience and biomechanics to start reprogramming your body from the very first time you do it. This isn't a temporary fix. This is your liberation. If you're ready to stop being a victim of your posture and reclaim total control of your body, write one word in the comments below: freedom. Because that's what starts today. You've seen the force. You've felt its effect. Now, it's time to meet the architect behind it all. The number one silent enemy isn't something you eat or drink. It's in the very architecture of your body, a structural flaw created by the modern world. Medically, we call it lumbar hyperlordosis. Don't let the name intimidate you. What it describes is devastatingly simple. It's that deep swayback curve in your lower back that society often sees as attractive, but biomechanically, it's a breaking point. It's the signature that a life spent in office chairs and hunched over screens leaves on your body. Here's what happens. When this curve becomes too pronounced, your pelvis tilts forward, like a bucket spilling its contents. This triggers a chain reaction, a cascade of internal pressure. Your intestines, your uterus, instead of being supported by your skeleton, they become dead weight pressing directly down on the dome of your bladder. It's not an external backpack. It's an internal press, running 24 hours a day. And beneath it all is your pelvic floor. That incredible hammock of muscle designed to be your last line of defense. What do you think happens when you subject it to this constant, crushing force? It wasn't built for that. It enters a state of chronic fatigue. Its fibers overstretch, they get micro tears, they lose their tone. They are fighting a battle they are mathematically destined to lose. We have traded comfort for control. Every hour you spend in a bad posture is an hour spent training your body to fail. And eventually, it gives. Understanding and reversing this is the cornerstone of reclaiming your freedom. Later, I'll teach you a neuromuscular reset technique you can do anywhere to start dismantling this structural flaw. And if you think disarming this mechanical architect is a game changer, wait until I reveal its secret accomplice. Because if posture is the mechanical attack on your bladder, there is a chemical attack that inflames it from the inside, making it even more vulnerable. To get the full battle plan, to understand both the mechanical and chemical attacks, subscribe to the Wellness Insight and turn on notifications. You're not subscribing for tips. You're subscribing for the complete map that will guide you out of this prison. Because the accomplice I'm talking about is probably in your kitchen right now, disguised as healthy. If poor posture is the hammer striking your pelvic floor from above, hidden irritants are the acid corroding its foundation from within. This is a two-front war, and the second enemy is hiding in plain sight, on your own plate. Let's talk about the accomplice, the chemical attack. We call them hidden bladder irritants. These are compounds in foods and drinks that, once processed by your body, unleash an inflammatory storm directly on the delicate lining of your bladder, an incredibly sensitive sensory lining. Imagine this lining is an open wound. Certain foods act like salt in that wound. They make it hyperreactive, jumpy, sending panic signals to your brain even when it's barely full. Let's unmask the first culprit. And it's a painful one, because it's an ally you've trusted your entire life. The king of the summer salad, the soul of Italian cooking, the icon of all things fresh and healthy, the tomato. In a balanced body, its nutritional benefits are undeniable. But for a bladder already under the mechanical siege of poor posture, already weakened and sensitized, the tomato reveals its dark side. Its high concentration of acids, mainly citric and malic acid, isn't just acidity in an abstract sense. On a microscopic level, it acts like chemical sandpaper on the delicate velvet that lines your bladder, a layer called the urothelium. This constant, aggressive polishing doesn't just inflame the tissue, it overstimulates the thousands of nerve endings there. Think about it. Those nerve endings are the sensors that tell your brain how full your bladder is. When they are chemically attacked, they become hypersensitive. They go on permanent red alert. They start sending false alarms, screaming, "Emergency! Empty now!" when your bladder is barely a quarter full. So, the very food you thought was nourishing you becomes the trigger for your urgency. Every bite of that healthy pasta sauce, every fresh slice in your salad, can be another chemical whisper ordering your bladder into a cycle of panic and contraction. It's a silent betrayal happening on your plate, every single day. Now, for the second saboteur. This one is a paradox because it disguises itself as celebration, sophistication, and even mindful hydration. I'm talking about fizzy drinks. And yes, I'm being categorical. This includes that harmless sparkling water you choose, thinking it's the purest option. That bubbly pleasure, that effervescent sensation, is a sensory experience we enjoy. But on a neurological level, what your bladder experiences is not a refreshing treat. It's an assault. You need to understand the science behind the bubble. When carbon dioxide dissolves in water, it creates an unstable, acidic compound, carbonic acid. As you drink, this compound travels through your system and arrives, concentrated, in your bladder. And this is where the aggression happens. Every tiny bubble that bursts against the delicate lining of your bladder is a micro-impact. It doesn't just irritate it chemically with its acidity, it bombards it physically. This constant bombardment puts the nerves in your bladder into a state we call hyperexcitability. Imagine changing the settings on a motion sensor from normal to ultra-high sensitivity, where the slightest breeze sets off the alarm. That's exactly what carbonic acid does to your bladder's nervous system. The slightest stretch, the smallest amount of fluid that was previously ignored, is now interpreted as a maximum-level emergency code. So you're not just drinking bubbles. You are actively training your bladder to panic. You're turning it into a muscle that lives on the edge of a constant spasm, always twitching, always on alert, ready to betray you at the slightest provocation. And now, the third culprit. In my opinion, this is the most treacherous of all. It's not an agitator, it's a silent assassin. It's the Trojan horse of the modern pantry, the one we invite inside believing it's a gift. I'm talking about the ghost in the machine, artificial sweeteners. They represent the master deception of the diet industry, wrapped in the promise of sweetness without consequences. That little blue, pink, or yellow packet in your coffee. That zero-sugar drink that seems like a magic trick. But here's the biological truth. When this synthetic, lab-created molecule enters your bloodstream, your ancient biological wisdom sounds an alarm. It doesn't recognize it. It's a foreign molecular signature, a code it can't decipher. To your body, it's an unidentified invader. And your system has protocols for invaders. Your kidneys, the diligent guardians of your internal purity, do their job perfectly. They identify this intruder, efficiently capture it, pull it from your blood to protect you, and escort it to the holding cell before final expulsion, your bladder. And this is where your body's solution becomes your problem. Because it doesn't arrive diluted. It arrives pure, concentrated, and with nowhere to go. And in the stillness of your bladder, This compound doesn't just sit there. It begins to act as what it really is, a chemical solvent. It doesn't just irritate. On a microscopic level, it chemically abrades the urothelium, stripping away the protective mucus layer that defends the nerve endings underneath. It leaves these hypersensitive nerves literally naked, raw, and exposed to the acidity of the urine itself. It is, without exaggeration, a targeted chemical attack. A toxic payload delivered with pinpoint precision to the epicenter of your vulnerability. And so, the ultimate deception is complete. The product you chose to be good, to avoid a problem, becomes the very agent that inflames and injures you from the inside out, all under the banner of health. Now, hearing this, your first reaction might be panic. An urge to empty your pantry and your fridge. Stop. Breathe. My goal is not to demonize your food or add more stress to your life. My goal is to give you the most important piece of the puzzle, the concept of the tolerance threshold. Imagine your bladder has a resilience threshold, like a glass. In an ideal state, this glass is nearly empty, with a huge capacity to handle life's little stresses. But the constant, daily pressure from poor posture, that mechanical attack we talked about, is not a little stress. It's a relentless force that, on its own, already fills that glass halfway. Your system is already on high alert, its tolerance capacity drastically reduced. And then, the chemical attack arrives. Every sip of that fizzy drink, every spoonful of that tomato sauce, every coffee with that artificial sweetener, they aren't just drops anymore. They are the drops that cause the already full glass to inevitably overflow. It's not a single attack, it's a coordinated siege. A pincer movement. The pressure from above and the irritation from within. That is the perfect storm that leads to leaks. And that is why today, I'm asking you to do something radical. I'm asking you to stop being a passive patient and to become the lead investigator in your own case. To take this knowledge and use it like a microscope to observe your own life. Your first task as an investigator is to gather data. So I want you to be brutally honest with yourself right now. Take a second, reflect, and share in the comments. Which of these three chemical saboteurs, tomatoes, fizzy drinks, or artificial sweeteners, is the most recurring actor in the script of your daily life? Your answer isn't just a comment for the algorithm. It's the first crucial piece of data in your own recovery file. It's not for me, it's for you. It is the precise moment that confusion turns into clarity, and the victim becomes the architect of her own healing. We've diagnosed the architect of the pressure and its chemical accomplice. We've exposed the plan that has been sabotaging your body. Now, I will give you the weapon to dismantle their work. I'm not going to give you a list of 100 exercises you'll forget tomorrow. I'm going to give you a single, elite intervention, a technique I call the 2-minute neuromuscular recalibration protocol. Its goal isn't just to strengthen, it's to rewrite your body's muscle memory. It's to wake up the correct muscles that have been asleep and to silence the ones that have been overworking. You will need a wall. Nothing else. That wall will be your teacher, the mirror that shows your body the truth about its posture. Step 1. The 0 point, or the truth of the wall. Before we can correct, we must calibrate. Years of incorrect posture haven't just weakened your muscles, they've corrupted the data in your nervous system. Your brain, in its incredible ability to adapt, has accepted a faulty alignment as normal. To your brain, crooked feels straight. So our first step isn't an exercise. It's a confrontation. We are going to force your brain to confront biomechanical truth, and we'll use the most honest oracle there is, a flat wall. Stand with your back against the wall. Now, let's create your reality anchors. Anchor your heels to the floor, feeling that firm contact. Feel your glutes make solid, complete contact. And finally, allow your shoulder blades to melt against the surface, as if the wall is receiving them. Heels, glutes, shoulder blades. These are your 3 pillars of postural truth. Now, close your eyes. Don't think, just feel. Feel the brutal honesty of those 3 points of contact. In this precise moment, you are imprinting a new master map onto your somatosensory cortex. You are creating a 0 point reference, a pure, undistorted signal of what true alignment feels like. This is the moment your nervous system stops listening to the static of bad habits and, for the first time in years, hears the clear, pure signal of neutral. Memorize this feeling. This is your new compass. Step 2. The silent revolution. Now, for the move that changes everything. With your anchors fixed to the wall, become aware of that space, that pronounced arch between your lower back and the surface. That curve isn't just empty space. It's the epicenter of your postural earthquake. It's ground zero where your chronically overworked back muscles have been winning a war against your abdominal muscles, which have become weak and amnesiac. Your mission now is to orchestrate a coup. And this is where 99% of people get it wrong. Their instinct is to use brute force, to clench their abs and smash their back against the wall. That is the worst mistake you can make. Doing that only reinforces the pattern of conflict by firing the wrong, superficial muscles. We are not going to shout. We are going to whisper. I want you to imagine a thin but unbreakable golden thread hooked just behind your belly button. Now, begin an incredibly slow, deliberate movement. That golden thread begins to gently pull your navel inward, toward your spine, and very slightly upward. Feel how this simple gesture starts a chain reaction. Your pelvis begins to tilt, like a cradle rocking gently backward. The arch in your back doesn't disappear by force. It melts, it lengthens, seeking contact with the wall as if drawn by a magnet. It's not a crunch. There is no tension, no strain. It is an awakening. A muscular whisper that sends two monumentally powerful messages to your nervous system. The first message is a ceasefire order to the tyrannical muscles of your lower back, inviting them to release their chronic tension for the first time in years. The second, and most important, is a wake-up call to your deepest, most important, and most forgotten muscle, the transverse abdominis. Your living corset. The internal power belt that, when working correctly, lifts and supports your organs, taking the mortal pressure off your bladder. What you are doing is not an exercise. It's a renegotiation of power within your own body. Step 3. The neural seal. You've found the position. You've whispered the command for the silent revolution. Now, we are going to burn this new truth into the bedrock of your nervous system. Because a new posture only becomes yours when your brain accepts it as the new standard for safety and efficiency. And the tool we will use to seal this deal is the most powerful one you own, your breath. With your lower back making that gentle, honest contact with the wall, you are going to breathe, but not just any breath. You are going to perform a 360-degree stabilizing breath. Inhale deeply through your nose, but instead of pushing your belly out, a mistake that creates downward pressure, I want you to feel the air expand the sides and back of your ribs, as if an accordion is opening inside your torso. This is the breath that stabilizes your core without creating destructive pressure on your pelvic floor. And now, the magic moment. As you exhale slowly through your mouth, as if breathing through a straw, actively feel that internal corset, your transverse abdominis, gently cinch around your center. It's a vacuum wrap feeling that seals and solidifies your new alignment. Hold this activated position for 60 seconds. Think of these 60 seconds as the installation time for your new body software. Do 2 sets. Let me be clear. This is not stretching. This is not traditional strengthening. This is a firmware update for your body. With every second you hold this position, with every conscious breath, you are sending a torrent of new data to your brain. You are telling it, this is the new default position. This is the safest, most efficient way to exist in gravity. With every repetition of this protocol, you are literally uninstalling decades of corrupt postural patterns and installing a new operating system. One where the default setting is no longer collapse and pressure, but lift and support. You are teaching your skeleton to float instead of collapsing. You are creating an internal support system that lifts your organs, revoking the sentence of perpetual pressure on your bladder. You are giving your pelvic floor back its right to be a responsive, elastic support, not an overburdened containment sac. You are, finally, reclaiming the owner's manual to your own body. Now that you have this knowledge, it is my duty as a doctor, and your responsibility as the guardian of your health, that we make a pact. The knowledge I've given you today is a high-precision map. It shows you the invisible forces, the hidden pathways, and the traps that have been affecting your body. It gives you the power to understand the why behind your struggle, a power that millions of women are denied. But a map, no matter how detailed, is no substitute for the wisdom of a guide who has walked the terrain. And your body, your history, your biology, that is your unique and sacred territory. The strategies we've discussed are universal principles, but their application is deeply personal. The architecture of your pelvis, the history of your tissues, your hormonal balance, they are as unique as your fingerprint. That is why my most important and solemn recommendation is this. Take this new understanding, this map, and use it to have a deeper, more powerful conversation with a healthcare professional. Find your strategic ally, your trusted doctor, and, crucially, a physical therapist who specializes in the pelvic floor, as they are the true architects of recovery in this field. They can perform an evaluation that goes beyond what any video can offer. They can touch, feel, and measure the response of your tissues, creating a precise diagnosis and a treatment plan that is a masterpiece designed exclusively for you. Remember, this knowledge doesn't make you your own doctor. It makes you an informed, powerful collaborator on your own health team. Use it wisely. Use it to ask better questions. Use it to demand better answers. Because your health isn't just the first thing, it is the foundation upon which you build the rest of your life. Today, you've done more than just learn. You've broken the chains of misinformation. You've dismantled the idea that your body is failing you for no reason, and instead, you've discovered the hidden operating manual. You've gone from the powerlessness of pointless kegels to understanding the architecture of pressure and the chemistry of irritation. You have reclaimed the root cause. And that is the beginning of true sovereignty over your body. The knowledge you've gained today is powerful, but it's only the beginning. Don't let this momentum stop. Continue your transformation right now by clicking on the playlist that I've prepared for you. YouTube's intelligence is also showing you the videos it knows you need to see next. Click one, and I'll see you in the next video.